We gave each other hall passes for our anniversary. Now our daughter is in a relationship with her half-brother, and everything is falling apart. My name's Liam, and I'm 35. I've been married to Jennifer, also 35, for the past 11 years. We met during our final days in college and have been inseparable ever since. After dating for a year, we got engaged and married within a month. Our marriage has been pretty great, though not without its ups and downs. We have our share of arguments and heated moments, but over the 12 years together, we've gotten better at handling them. We've had countless adventures and managed to save a good amount of money. Right before our 10th anniversary, we started talking about having kids. We both agreed one child would be enough and decided to enjoy one more year without kids. We made a bucket list and checked off items like skydiving and taking our dream trip to Italy. We also had typical vacations like beach trips and visits to amusement parks. We spent time with friends and reconnected with old ones, joking that it was our last year of freedom before kids. On our 10th anniversary, everything seemed perfect, but our decisions led to the turmoil we're facing now. To give some background, Jennifer and I have always had a great sex life. We both have high libidos and share similar interests in the bedroom. We knew about each other's active pasts before we got together. Nothing too wild, just a dozen partners each and some special experiences in college. Since then, it's been just us. We planned a big day for our anniversary, filled with fun activities, a fancy dinner, and a suite at a nearby luxurious hotel. During dinner, Jennifer wanted to reminisce about our years together, which led to a deep and enjoyable conversation about our favorite memories. Then she asked me, "What's something you miss about being single?" I hesitated but replied, "Don't get mad, but one-night stands." She laughed, which relieved me, and said, "Yeah, I kinda miss them too." This led to a discussion about what we enjoyed about one-night stands and our first night together, which was also a one-night stand. That's when I suggested, "With all our plans for the year, do you want to add a one-night hall pass to the list?" Jennifer looked intrigued but cautious. "Maybe. Do you think that's too much? We've never done anything like that." I reassured her, "I don't think so. We can talk about it more this week and then decide." She agreed, and we enjoyed the rest of our night. We discussed the hall pass idea later that week and decided to go for it. We had 1 year to use it before Jennifer would go off birth control on our 11th anniversary. We set ground rules. It was a one-night-only pass with someone not in our lives, be safe and smart, and we had to inform each other when using the pass, even if it was just a heads-up text. Throughout the year, we went on all our planned adventures. I joined some dating apps and eventually met a 30-year-old woman whose marriage was opening up. She was unsure about their arrangement and thought a one-night stand would help her figure things out. I was the perfect candidate, since that was all I was offering. We met, had a fun and exciting night, and I told Jennifer beforehand. She was excited for me, and when I returned the next day, she reclaimed me. I figured Jennifer would use her pass soon, but I was wrong. Over the year, I asked if she'd found someone for her hall pass. She said, no one stands out. The profiles are just not appealing. Maybe it's me. We discussed it, and she admitted she was looking for a younger guy, around 25. She found many single guys, but they seemed arrogant or immature. Almost 11 months in, she finally said she was ready to use her hall pass. I felt guilty for using mine, thinking she might not use hers at all. She told me it was a special situation and wanted to ensure it was within our rules. She explained that for the past 3 months, a 23-year-old intern named Wes in another department at her company had caught her eye. They interacted about work since their departments often collaborated. She was attracted to him and realized he wasn't an idiot. But she knew coworkers were a bad choice, especially since he might get hired full-time, which was an HR no-no. A few days ago, Wes announced he was ending his internship as he had been hired full-time elsewhere. Since his new job was across the city, they wouldn't bump into each other. She asked if this was out of our lives enough. I said it sounded fine, just be safe and smart. She planned to proposition him after his last day. A week later, as Wes was leaving and saying his goodbyes, Jennifer offered to walk him out. He found it odd but agreed. At his car, she propositioned him for a night of fun, explaining she had 1 hall pass and would get a hotel if he was interested. He was intrigued but unsure, not wanting to get involved in a marriage. Jennifer put me on a FaceTime call and I confirmed it was real, explaining I had used mine. And it was her turn. Wes was excited and followed her to a hotel. She came back the next morning, and I reclaimed her. The next few weeks flew by, and on our 11th anniversary, she stopped her birth control. 2 weeks later, Jennifer was pregnant, which seemed quick. We booked an appointment and learned she was about 7 weeks along, aligning perfectly with her hall pass use. But we'd also been having sex frequently around that time. Now I have no idea what to do. There's a chance the baby isn't mine. I'm stressed out, and Jennifer said she needed a walk to clear her mind. I'm sitting here, stewing, trying to figure out my next move while waiting for her to return. This is a total mess. The baby is finally here, and I want to share what happened between Jennifer and me since my last update. After Jennifer returned from her walk, we had a serious conversation. I asked her directly if she had used protection with Wes. She said, "No, that didn't even cross my mind." I was stunned and exclaimed, "What happened to safe and smart?" Jennifer seemed confused and replied, "I thought you just meant make sure he wasn't a psycho. I was on the pill. Why are you so upset? You know I've never insisted on condoms before." I couldn't believe it. "Jennifer, seriously? We're not kids anymore. You should want to avoid STDs." Tears welled up in Jennifer's eyes. "I didn't want this to happen. I'm sorry. I just didn't think about it." "Did you use condoms during your hall pass?" I answered firmly. "Yes, every single time. Better safe than sorry." I took a deep breath. "I need to ask you something I never planned on. How many times did you two—" She looked up, calculating. 5 times. God damn. I pressed on. "So he finished inside you 5 times?" She shook her head. "No, just twice." I stared at her and she added, "I told him the same thing I always tell you and everyone before you." I said flatly, "You can finish wherever you want?" "Of course you did." At this point, she started to cry. "What do you want to do?" she asked. I sighed. "I don't want to do anything right now. We need to look into a paternity test just to be sure." A couple of weeks later, we had a follow-up appointment. Jennifer asked the doctor about her birth control failing. After several questions, we realized that the prescription athlete's foot medication she was taking might reduce the effectiveness of her birth control. It's rare, but not impossible. Later, I asked if the pharmacist mentioned this when she picked up the medication, and she said, "I wasn't really listening." I wasn't surprised. I found the bottle, and it had a clear birth control warning. I was about to bring up the paternity test when Jennifer signaled me not to. Once outside, I asked her why, and she said, "I don't want to spoil my pregnancy. It's probably yours. We had sex twice as often around that time. If we get the test, and it's not yours." She teared up a bit. "This is the only time I'll be pregnant. I'd rather believe I'm carrying your child than someone else's. We agreed to keep the baby, and you said you don't want to separate. Can we just do the test after the baby is born?" I agreed, wanting her to enjoy her pregnancy. Over the next few months, we did all the typical preparations. We set up the nursery, got the car seat and other essentials, and stocked up on diapers. We packed a hospital bag and baby-proofed the house. Our parents were thrilled and threw us a baby shower. The pregnancy went smoothly, and after 39 weeks, our beautiful baby girl Willow was born. At the hospital, Jennifer asked if I wanted to get the paternity test done right away. I looked at our baby girl and said, "No, I don't care anymore. This perfect girl is mine, and I don't need a test to tell me that. I'm her dad, and she's my girl." Jennifer's face lit up with relief and happiness. I think it's what she needed to hear. We're taking Willow home tomorrow, ready to enjoy every moment with her. I doubt this issue will ever come up again. 22 years ago, I shared the challenges my wife Jennifer and I faced during her pregnancy. In short, we had given each other hall passes, and Jennifer used hers while also being intimate with me. Her birth control failed, and she became pregnant. We decided to keep the baby, but the uncertainty of the child's paternity caused us a lot of heartache. Ultimately, we chose not to get a paternity test and raised our daughter together. Our daughter, Willow, is now 22 and a senior in college. She often comes home during extended breaks and over the summer, as her university is just an hour away from where we live. She's an amazing young woman with a bright future ahead. This year, she asked if she could bring her boyfriend of 9 months, Woody, home with her. We agreed, excited to meet him. The night they arrived, we had a big dinner to welcome them. Everything was going great as we got to know Woody. He seemed like a nice young man, originally from Oregon, His grandparents live near the university, and his parents are from the area too. Woody mentioned he chose this college because it's where his dad went and to be near his grandparents. As the conversation flowed, Woody asked Jennifer about her job. When she told him, he responded, "Oh, cool, that's what my dad does." He then mentioned that his dad interned at Jennifer's company before landing a job at a rival firm and eventually moving to Oregon. I watched as Jennifer's expression changed, and then it hit me hard. I managed to keep my composure and not blurt anything out. Jennifer, trying to stay calm, asked, "Woody, is that a nickname or were you named after the actor?" He chuckled. "Sort of. It's my last name, Woodson. My first name is actually Josh, but my friends have called me Woody since middle school because, you know, when you're 12, that's hilarious. I just embraced it." Jennifer was visibly sweating. "And can I ask, what's your dad's name? Maybe I remember him." Woody replied, "Wesley Woodson, but most people call him Wes." I felt like passing out, but we managed to stay composed. Willow noticed something was off and asked if everything was okay. We quickly changed the subject and later played Mario Party 30 with them. Afterward, they headed to Willow's room, and Jennifer and I rushed to ours. "What the hell?" I exclaimed. Jennifer looked as distressed as I felt. "I know. What are the odds? Out of all the people in the world, she meets and falls for him. Oh my God, she might be sleeping with her brother." I was desperate to deny it. "Are you sure? Maybe they're not doing that yet." Jennifer gave me a stern look. "Seriously? She tells me everything. I usually shield you from it because you can't handle it, but we need to face reality. She's just like we were in college. They've been intimate since their first date, and he's far from her first. We need to come to terms with this." I tried to block out what she was saying, but I knew we couldn't just ignore it. We realized we couldn't just demand she break up with him. Willow would definitely question that, and we knew she really liked him, maybe even loved him. With her nearing the end of college, life decisions were on the horizon. We couldn't just sit back and hope the relationship would run its course. We had to make a decision. We needed to get a paternity test, which would raise questions. So, we had to talk to Willow and explain the situation because she wouldn't go along with anything without understanding why. We convinced her to send Woody to his grandparents a day early. It was an awkward day and a half, but we managed to keep things as normal as possible. Then, we sat Willow down and told her the truth as gently as we could. We explained the hall passes, Wes, and our decision not to get a paternity test. Willow looked like she wanted to throw up. She was furious and disgusted. I couldn't blame her. In one moment, she found out she might not know her biological father and that she could be in a sexual relationship with her half-brother. We got the paternity test done and are now waiting for the results, which should take about 5 days. Willow is faking an illness to avoid seeing Woody and keeping him from coming back. They're still talking, but she's clearly sad. Her somber tone helps with the sick ruse. She's just hoping the test confirms that I'm her father. I'll update once we get the results and know where we stand. I feel awful about everything that has unfolded. It's been a month now, and it seems like things are finally starting to settle down. Let's address the burning question. Willow is not my biological daughter. She took the news really hard. Not only did she find out that I wasn't her father, but she also realized that she had been in a relationship with her half-brother. The discovery was devastating. We invited Woody back over, and he got really anxious when he saw Willow crying. That's when we explained everything about Jennifer and Wes, how we never got a paternity test, and how it was a 1 in a billion chance that he and Willow would end up together. He was distraught, angry, and stormed out. Later, Woody returned with his dad, Wes, on the phone. We talked, and I told him that my daughter was biologically his. He remembered the night he spent with Jennifer and was in shock. He said he would get on the first flight to come here. Meanwhile, Willow was in denial and demanded proof that she and Woody were siblings. She said, "This test only says you're not my father. How do you know Mom didn't cheat?" I volunteered to get a DNA test for both of them. I knew the result would confirm their relationship, but if it gave her a few days of hope, I was willing to do it. Woody agreed, and we sent off the test that day. His parents arrived the next day. We showed them the results confirming Willow wasn't mine and told them we had also tested Willow and Woody for a sibling relationship. Woody's mom was furious that we had tested her son without their permission and felt we were overstepping boundaries. She said, "You already revealed that my husband has a secret child, and now you're making decisions about our son without consulting us." I understood her frustration. We were indeed turning their lives upside down. Wes and Willow took a paternity test that day and sent it off. The Woodsons stayed with their relatives, while we stayed home, trying to cope as a family. We scheduled individual counseling for Willow and family therapy for all of us. Those days were incredibly tough. When the results from Willow and Woody's sibling test arrived, we called the Woodsons. They had just received the paternity test results and agreed to come over to open them together. When they arrived, I opened the DNA test first. Willow and Woody were not siblings. A collective sigh of relief filled the room. I looked at Jennifer, my mind racing with confusion. She had the most bewildered expression, which momentarily halted my rising anger. Then Wes opened his results, confirming he was indeed Willow's father. He exclaimed, "This doesn't make sense. How can I be her father and they're not siblings?" I immediately understood. As Wes processed the revelation, I saw the pain in his eyes. He turned to his wife, who looked defensive and angry. She began ranting, saying the tests had to be wrong, that we were playing tricks and that we wanted something from them, accusing us of being scammers. Her outburst made everything clear. In the weeks since, Willow and Woody have broken up but have remained friends. They've been through too much together to simply cut ties. Willow told me that Wes had uncovered some shocking truths about his family. His wife had been cheating on him since their engagement. Woody's younger brother, who was 14, was also a product of infidelity and had a different father. To make things worse, Wes discovered his wife's active involvement in a subreddit dedicated to infidelity, where she celebrated her affairs and bragged about how she got away with them, all while praising Wes for being clueless and calling herself a cake eater enjoying life. Wes has started the divorce process, and the prenup his parents insisted on is going to save him a lot of trouble. Wes called me today, asking about forming a relationship with Willow. He has mixed feelings about the whole situation, especially being kept in the dark for over 20 years, but he wants to understand and connect. I told him it would be Willow's decision. We continue to attend family therapy and are working through all of this for Willow's sake. She's holding up well, all things considered. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I guess only time will tell.